what you can't finish. You're going with me or without me?
I saw exactly what I've always felt about Donnie Weeboy. And I saw that girl can't protect her child.
Margaret, Jimmy's her boy.
He's your grandson.
We're trying to locate a Donnie Weeboy. He married our son's widow. Got our grandson with him.
You let it be known you're looking for a wee boy. I'll find you.
We thought we'd see Jimmy, since we're in the neighborhood.
Since you're in the neighborhood. Go careful. Where in the hell are we? We came to see our grandson.
My boy doesn't have to answer to you. And we don't have to answer to you. Whoa. Come with us.
No, he'd kill me. Him and his mother.
Your grandson. He's a wee boy now.
You're with me on this, right?
I'm right behind
He hit Lorna. You hit your wife. Like...
you. Don't start what you can't finish.
And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. And I am Shanrae. Okay, so we are on week 1 of this quarter's teachings. We're on week 1, part 2, and it's so good to see you all this evening. This is an open forum, and so if you have any questions or any suggestions or even some life experiences that you've experienced, feel free to comment and to just speak, come on and speak in. But before we get started, let me go on and share this screen. I've got a lot going on, so I want to I'm between different screens and everything. So let me put it this way so y'all can see. All right, so I am Shanrae. Welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. And I have to look over a little bit. Let me move this a little bit. I'm trying to work so many different things at one time, but I want to move this along. I am a Christian counselor, and I've acquired my degrees from Ashford University. I am a Christian counselor. And let me move this along. So with that being said, I want to go on and read my website disclaimer, and I think I'm going to need to move this over a little bit so I can see both screens at one time. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm trying to get the hang of using both screens and my phone and my tablet and all of that. Okay, so before we get started, let me read my website disclaimer. And it says, please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself or any other counselor or counseling services are subject to the limitations of current and available material. But the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the individual or the client. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you, the individual or the client, Will consult another physician, another specialist, and or a religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness. So like I said, I'm a Christian counselor, and I want to go on and start with this is my Bible verse for the month of August, and it comes from the Amplified Version of the Bible, and it says, "So then, in everything, treat others the same way that you want them to treat you, for this is the essence of the law and the writings of the prophets." And this is found in Matthew chapter 7, verses 12. Or it's considered the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And that's something that we all should live and stand by. So this is 30 minutes. We got 30 minutes to get through this, and I'm going to blow this up just a little bit so y'all can see this a little bit better. So this is part 2 of our introduction of, are you selfish, self-centered, or are you self-preserved? All right, so let's go on and let's define self-preservation. Number 1, self-preservation means preservation of oneself from destruction or harm. Or number 2, a natural or an instinctive tendency to act so as to preserve one's own existence, which is the same thing. Now, number 2, self-centered. The definition that I chose here, it says concerned solely with one's own desires, needs, or interest. And then Monday, we talked a little bit about narcissism. So I wanted to go on and define narcissism for us. Narcissism says it's defined as an excessive interest in or admiration of oneself and one's physical appearance. So there are a lot of people that are narcissistic, and they're just into their own self. And but it's okay. It's okay, because once you realize that maybe you have some tendencies that need to be tweaked about yourself, there's always strategies and things that we can do to grow and to mature into a better type of where we can do life with our people who we're accustomed, or people that we are related to or are involved in. We can do life better with them. So, are you self-centered? Are you self-preserved, or do you just follow self-preservation type of lifestyle? And or do you lean more towards being self-centered? Do you lean more towards being self-preserved, or are you right in the middle there? So we're going to move this along. This month, I'm going to be reflecting, as we opened up, on 2 different one series and 1 movie. The first thing is Let Him Go, which you just saw from HBO. That's being highlighted on HBO right now. Very, very, very interesting movie. The second series of movie that I wanted to highlight is Sex Life from Netflix. Very, very, very interesting type of series. You have to be an adult to watch either one of these, 18 or older, to watch in either one of these. But the messages in both of these movies are so similar. It's 2 different type of movies, but it's so similar. And this is something that I wanted to highlight to bring out more of the definitions of what I'm teaching on this month: self-centered or self-preserved. All right, so let's move this along. Okay, so it says, well, what is the difference between self-centered and being self-absorbed, or is there a difference at all? So I'm going to self-centered has a negative connotation of being selfishly focused on things that only have to do with one's own self. It also means that one does not take the feelings or desires of others into accountability, and that one lives one's life solely just to please their own wants, their own needs, or their own desires. That's what self-centered is. Now, being self-absorbed has a more neutral connotation of being focused on the interior life. So the interior life is having one's attention on one's own thought processes or one's own emotions. And it is more neutral because one is focused on oneself, because one is deep in thought or caught up in a certain emotion rather than deliberately trying to be selfish. So that happens a lot of times. We see that happen when people have experienced some form of trauma, where they're more self-absorbed or something like that. So a lot of times that's what you know, as a matter of fact, both of those, self-centered, can actually be a result of both of them. Self-centered and self-absorbed can be a result of some form of trauma. Some form of trauma. I'm trying to see if we have anyone on tonight that wants to reflect on this. And again, this is an open forum. This is an open forum, so feel free to comment. Feel free to if you want to share a scenario, feel free. All right, so we're going to move this along. 30 minutes is going to come and go very, very, very quickly. So tonight's key points are: am I being selfish, self-centered, or just simply self-aware? Or we're going to talk about the difference between being self-centered and selfish. The question will arise: how is self-awareness different than being self-centered or self-aware or self-absorbed or self-preserved? Another question is this confusion a part of a perfectly hidden depression? Which that is something major right there. Is this confusion a part of a perfectly hidden depression? And then we're going to end it with 3 things that we can do to try self-awareness on for size. All right, so let's keep it pushing really quickly. All right, so according to Dr. Margaret R. Rutherford, according to her, this is her findings or her teachings, her theological teachings and research. She talked about, am I being selfish? Am I being self-centered or simply self-aware? So she starts out by asking a few different questions, and I'm going to open this up so you can see both me and this. Dr. Margaret, she's a PhD. She has a PhD. She starts out by asking a couple of questions. Number 1, she asked, do you believe that if I ask for something I want, am I being selfish? And I'm going to wait a few minutes because, some people were raised to think that if you ask for something that you want, that you're being selfish. Okay. Or does it make sense to you that there's a huge difference between being selfish, self-centered, and self-aware? So let's talk about these differences here. First, let's take self-centeredness. And here, let me give you an example of being self-centered. A self-centered person might say, oh, I'm so sorry your mom has cancer. That's horrible. I'm sure you'll be taking her for treatments. But does that mean that you won't be able to keep carpooling? That's an example right there of someone that's self-centered. I'm gonna ask that. I'm gonna say it and give you another. I'm gonna give you this example again. Is a self-centered person this is how they may or they always will come across. It's something like this. Oh, I'm sorry that your mother has cancer. That's sorrow. That's a horrible thing. I'm sure that you'll be taking her to her treatments. But does this mean that you won't be carpooling anymore? Or it may sound something like this. Wow, congratulations. I'm so happy you're going to have a baby. It took me 4 years and so much money for infertility treatments. I wouldn't know what it feels like to do it all naturally. So that's kind of something that somehow a response that a self-centered person would give. A self-centered person grabs the focus and put on themselves. And you're left wondering why you even bothered to talk to them in the first place. Or somehow you absorb a weird kind of shame for sharing whatever that you're sharing with them, as if your struggles or your joys don't matter. So that's what a self-centered person does. A self-centered person grabs the focus and brings it towards themselves. So let's move this along to the next thing. All right, Dr. Margaret Rutherford, also, the next question she asked she wants to talk about is the difference between being self-centered and selfish. And let me open this up a little bit because I want y'all to see this for yourself, and then I'll bring it back around. So this is another question another scenario that she's bringing up. The difference between being self-centered and selfish. So she breaks it down by saying selfishness is putting yourself, your own needs in front of someone else's. Most or all the time. Most of the time or all of the time. So if there's a piece of pie, a selfish person is going to grab the last piece of pie. And if a child needs to be picked up, they have an appointment that they can't miss, and it's left up to you to go get the child or whatever like that. That's a selfish or a self-centered person. Sometimes not being able to be available or to put someone else's needs first can't be helped sometimes. But if it happens all of the time, then it's beginning to sound like this person is selfishness. And it's very hard to be in a relationship with someone who knows only how to take and rarely give. And I'm going to open this up because this is important. Again, it is very, very hard to be in a relationship, whether you're a friend, you're a co-worker, you're a spouse, a significant other, auntie, uncle, whatever family member. It's hard to be in a relationship with someone who knows only how to take from you, and then they don't give. So that's a huge part of that's how you know that you have that a person has more tendencies of being self-centered or selfish. I'm gonna move this along because our 30 minutes is coming by very quickly. Let me illuminate this so y'all can see the next one. The next question, a scenario that Dr. Margaret poses is, how is self-awareness different from selfishness and self-centeredness? And so she's saying that being self-aware is a very different choice. She said her definition is very simple. You keep in mind your own needs or your wants, and then treat them with as much consideration as you treat the wants and needs of other people. So your needs don't always rise to the top of the needs, wants, and time available chart, but they do sometimes. Just as sometimes you put the wants and needs of others ahead of yours, but your needs are in consideration enough of the time. So the important word there is enough in this. The important word in this is enough. Okay. And sometimes that's not a lot because someone else's needs take priority and for a good reason. And we all get really, really, really busy. Yet there are other times when you find yourself in a more painful or frightening or confusing place. And frankly, your needs and you need attention and support, right? But you could call it good self-care. You can ask for help and hopefully receive that help. I want to give a scenario about the difference of being self-aware and the difference of being self-centered. I remember years ago, my mom was diagnosed with cancer and she was given a very bad report. They told her she only had 2 months to live. I was in the middle of actually finishing cosmetology college. I had recently moved to Atlanta, to Georgia, and I was working a part-time job and going to school full-time. My husband and we had babies at the time. And when I got the phone call that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer and they only gave her 2 months to live, I didn't think twice about it. I just stopped everything I did. It was actually time for me to go take my state board exam. I had finished school that whole year and a half. And I called the state, told them what was happening, got all of the paperwork that needed to be given to the state board to prove that my mother's health condition. And I just put all of mine on the back burner. Took care of my mother for months. My mother was a miracle. She was not, they wasn't expecting her to live and make it, but my mother was graced to live an extra 25 years. But I dropped everything and went. I was down there for 5 months, grabbed my babies. We went down there and helped care for my mom for those 5 months. By the time I got back home, the state board can only hold me off they actually helped me off for as long as they could. So I had to hurry up and come back to Georgia, come to Atlanta and take my state board test. When I took my state board test, I failed the practical by 1 point. because my nerves were shattered. And I aced the theory part of it with a 97 or 98. But I didn't think twice about it, because my reward to me was that my mother was blessed to live, and she didn't leave this earth back then 25 years ago. So that's a great scenario of being self-aware and self-centered. I might have switched it around a little bit, but I know self-aware. I knew that I was still up under a little pressure coming back home. I was still a little worried about my mom, although she got a good report. But I went ahead and I put my needs, I put what I wanted to do or what I needed to do. I felt like at the time, mine on the back burner to go and tend to my mom. Came back and tended to what I wanted to do, but I had to take some extra steps to get those licenses and all of that. So let's move it along to the next thing. And that might have been an extreme example, but that's what came up right now. That's what I thought of at this time. All right, so let me illuminate this a little bit more. Next thing that Dr. Margaret talks about is this confusion a part of perfectly hidden depression? Wow. So if you struggle with perfectly hidden depression, you may not know the difference between selfishness, wow, and self-awareness. You might not have been taught or treated as if your childhood needs and wants were even significant. So this is what you heard from people who were supposed to be taking care of you. Nobody asked you. Some of us have heard that. Nobody asked you. You shouldn't be hungry. We just ate. You need to call and tell your friends your birthday party is off because mommy is tired. So this often occurs in families, where there's abuse or neglect, where parents have a rigid authoritarian type of style of parenting, or where secret addictions were present. You were consistently handed out subtle and not so subtle messages that if you wanted or needed something, it did not matter. You learned that your needs came after others, and that you needed to stifle your desires, and that your needs and your wants, that they were not important, that you weren't important, and that you continued that belief into adulthood. But the fact is, you are as important as anyone else. And I'm going to blow this up. The fact is, because a lot of people come from this type of foundation where maybe there was some neglect or some abuse or some, because people can only give what they have. If people don't have, if they don't have the proper parenting techniques or teachings, they're gonna give you who they are and what they have. And it does affect us a lot of times going into our adulthood. But I'm gonna say this again. You are as important as anyone else. You're no less important than anybody else. And this is, I said it a little bit earlier, when I started out this teaching tonight, that a lot of times selfishness and self-centeredness, it really, a lot of it stems from abuse and neglect. But again, we have some great nuggets that we can start implementing in our life and implementing into our world, so we can grow, mature, overcome, become better, to the people that are connected to us in our life, and that we can do life better once we realize, because everybody doesn't realize that maybe I'm a little selfish, a little self-centered, or whatever like that. But once you come to that realization, there's ways that you can learn strategies to overcome this, and learn how to be a little bit, what's that golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So let's gonna move this along here. All right. It says here are 3 things that we can do to try self-awareness on for size. And I'm going to magnify this a little bit so y'all can see this. And again, this is by Dr. Margaret. All right, so let's start with number 1. Number 1 says, okay, let me read this. It says, so what can we do if you struggle with knowing the difference between self-centeredness selfishness, and being self-aware. Number one, confront your own selfish label, what I was just talking about. Ask yourself this question: would you tell someone else that they were being selfish if they took a walk for an hour instead of doing laundry? No, you wouldn't. Usually, and that was just an example. Usually, when you apply to yourself what you would say to someone else, you would have to laugh at the irrationality of what you're thinking. And listen, and I'm going to illuminate this. A lot of times we do think crazy. There's all kinds of crazy, weird stuff comes to our brain. But when it does come to our mind, it doesn't mean that we have to speak it or verbalize it. Sometimes you have to rationalize some things in your head. Like, let's give it a scenario here. Like they just gave here with the laundry. If you're married, your spouse is supposed to be doing the laundry. It's his turn to do the laundry, or it's her turn to do the laundry. And instead of them doing the laundry and stuff is just piling up, instead of them they choose to do something else. They just totally just choose, like they said, go for a walk. Well, I know the first thing that will come in my mind is like, so you chose to do this rather than do your part of the chores in the household. And why does it seem like, okay, so I see where, okay, all right, I see where I paused a little bit. Well, the first thing that would come in my mind is, why does I have to be the one to always be more responsible than you? But instead of verbalizing it, the right thing to do, and I mean, if this happens all the time, then it is what it is. But if this happens, like it's like a little offset type of thing that happens, then I mean, the right thing to do is to ask, is everything okay? I noticed that you had to go for a walk. Is everything all right? I know we had a set schedule to do certain things, but I noticed that you had to go for a walk. How was work today? Did you get a phone call? Is there something going on? Are you all right? How are you feeling? Sometimes we have to go around and ask, and then or then just say, okay, well, I mean, I'm just asking this because I know we're low on clothing, and it's your turn to do the laundry. So just to jog whatever. That's the proper way to do it, the proper response. But again, we're all human. We're all human, and things happen. So even on that side, when we feel like that, maybe we're the ones who always have to be more whatever, we have to still try to find ways to even rationalize that with ourselves without popping. And I'm talking to myself first, because I'm the first one. I will pop and say, you know what, I shouldn't be the one that have to always blah blah blah. So it goes both ways. It goes both ways. I'm gonna move on to number 2, and let me illuminate this. Dr. Margaret says, number 2, the 3 things that we can do to try self-awareness on for size is number 2. Understand that being self-aware can increase the likelihood of vulnerability. Oh, that's so true. And when you turn your attention on yourself, either through calm thought and meditation or through paying attention and even nurturing yourself, pain can emerge. You're giving yourself the message that you are important, one that maybe you never received before or didn't receive appropriately. So you have to be ready for this. You might not be accustomed to feeling vulnerable or sad or even angry. And I'm going to illuminate this. This is very important, because when you become vulnerable, a lot of times it's because you have to start dealing with a lot of times some things that you've experienced in the past. And that's a part of life. Again, we don't want to feel pain. We don't want to feel confusion. We don't want to feel sadness. We don't want to feel fear or anything. But the only way to get to grow and to arise above certain things is we have to deal with certain things, maybe some uncomfortable foundational scenarios that we have experienced, so we can go past it. We can grow past that. And again, thank God for counselors. Thank God for counselors and for therapy. they give such great strategies. They really do when you're trying to cope and deal and overcome with certain things. So don't be afraid of being vulnerable. There's so much wonderful help out there. And number three, and I'm going to move this along with number three, and I want to then I'm going to show you something else again. Number three, Dr. Margaret says for the three things that you can do to try on self-awareness for size. Number three says risk doing something at least one time a week. And let me blow this up a little bit. Risk doing something at least once a week that's just for you, even if it is a small thing like taking a 30 minutes to sit down and read a book, read something, driving out in the country, or calling a friend and talking on the phone for 30 minutes. Gift yourself. Gifts yourself don't have to be big, and they don't have to be make a big difference. It may feel awkward at first, but it is so worth it because you are worth it. And I'm going to repeat that again. Gifting yourself, it's not always doing a big thing. Oh, I'm gonna go buy me this Birkin bag or something. It doesn't have to be like that. Gifting yourself means doing something for you. Go get your nails done. Go get your feet done. Even that, you don't have to spend money. Go take a drive by yourself and go sit in the park and just watch the kids play or read a book while you out there. Go for a bike ride. Go get a massage. Oh my gosh, do something once a week for yourself. And again, it does not have to be costly, but it's important to do things just for you. Okay, I know we want to do unto others, and it is important for us to do unto others that we have to do unto you. But if we don't know how to love and care for ourselves properly, we will never, ever, ever be able to do that for anyone else. All right, so I want to show this last piece right here, and I hope that that this teaching tonight really has helped in some type of way. I want to show this last little piece here.
Desire, feeling desired, freedom. I haven't felt that way since
Brad, the person who gives you security can't be the same person who gives you the thrill.
Billy never even mentioned you.
Maybe there's a reason for that.
Unless you think there's a world in which Brad could give you both.
Where's my baby?
I love my husband. I can't imagine my life without him. I'm just not sure that this is who I'm supposed to be. I'm questioning everything.
Everybody wonders, what if?
The sex sucks. The romance quotient is non-existent. I've been thinking about him.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine.
There was a time in my life when I felt free.
I want to show you something.
I keep my eyes wide.
And then one day, I've become this whole other person. I can't help wondering, where did that other girl go?
I keep the end.
But I can get that feeling again. Every time I close my eyes and go back to one of those nights, I feel it. It's real. And it was a whole other me.
I walk the line.
Who are you?
I miss it. That part of me I thought was over, but now it's screaming from inside.
And you thought that I wouldn't love you because of it.
You were playing with fire.
I think you're enjoying this way too much.
Put down the Brad matches now.
I never had the wild experiences you did. I want to have them with you.
I've been trying not to think of you for 8 years. Tell me you never think about me.
Because you're mine.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
I walk the line. I walk the line.
Okay. Okay, so that if you watched that, woo, that was a very interesting series right there. Very, very interesting series. I want to end this with this quote, and it says, when we quit thinking primarily about ourselves and our own self-preservation, we undergo a truly heroic transformation of consciousness. And this quote was by Mr. Joseph Campbell. I'm going to read this one more time because this really this is a very serious quote here. Again, Mr. Joseph Campbell quoted, when we quit thinking primarily about ourselves and our own self-preservation, we undergo a truly heroic transformation of consciousness. All right. So before I end this, I showed the same clips on Tuesday as well as I did tonight, because the next few weeks I'm going to start breaking down the movie and the series, and start highlighting specific things, showing and asking your opinion, the viewers. Do you think that that this this Okay, sorry about that. The signal is very low. But I'm going to be reviewing certain things and asking your opinion. Do you think it was selfish or self-preserved, what the people were doing? Okay, so we're going to move this along because we have some storm clouds coming through. So my internet says, and I got a good one. I'm with Xfinity, but sometimes things happen. All right, so for those fellow counselors or theorists, here's my theory website, my reference pages. If you want to go back and check my references and where I got this theory from and the teachings from, feel free. I put it right here as for those, or even if you just want to check for yourself. Okay, thank you again for participating in Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, August 2021. I thank you and I appreciate you all. If you have missed any past teachings, or if you want to rewatch this, feel free to go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Like, share, and subscribe. And you can any past teachings, any thing, if you want to just rewatch it again, like I said, feel free to go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Watch it, like, share, and subscribe. All right. I am a professional counselor, so I do professional one-on-one counseling. And if you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via Facebook Messenger or at my shanrae.price@gmail.com email. I am a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in reaching your life's goals and your life's dreams. All right. And if you feel that this teaching has helped you in a positive way or blessed your life, please feel free to donate a coffee blessing to my Cash App at $Shanrae Price. All right. And this has been this for this evening. I will see you all next Tuesday, and we're going to do week 2, moving on to another subtopic up under this. Are you selfish? Are you self-preserved? Or do you find yourself in the middle? I want y'all to have a wonderful weekend. God bless and good night.